You look up at the night sky. The moon is glowing brighter than ever. Not because it's full, not because of any eclipse, but because it's getting closer. Too close. Close enough that tides rise without warning. Close enough that the ground beneath you trembles. Close enough that you suddenly understand. This is no normal night. This is the beginning of the moon's final descent toward Earth, and humanity has run out of time. For billions of years, the moon has been our silent guardian, stabilizing our rotation, controlling our tides, shaping our nights. It has circled us faithfully since the birth of the solar system. But what if that bond is broken? What if something somewhere nudges the moon off balance? What if its orbit decays and gravity pulls it downward? What if the moon collides with Earth? This is an event humanity has never witnessed, a catastrophe so enormous it stretches beyond imagination. No history book has a record of it, no civilization has ever prepared for it. But tonight, we step into a world where the unthinkable becomes real. The moon would not fall instantly. It would spiral inward, slowly at first, then faster, as Earth's gravity tightens its grip. The very moment it drifts, even a fraction closer, Earth begins to feel the consequences. Tides rise, and rise, and rise again. The moon controls Earth's tides. Pull it closer, and its influence becomes monstrous. Coastlines flood daily. Cities struggle beneath waves that were once harmless. Rivers overflow. Low-lying islands drown beneath relentless surges. What used to be a once-in-a-century flood becomes a daily disaster. Earth's crust responds next. Gravitational forces stretch the planet like a drum being tightened. Fault lines strain. Pressure builds. Earthquakes ripple across continents, not large enough to destroy civilization, but strong enough to warn that something is terribly wrong. Animals sense it before we do. Birds flee coastlines. Whales change course. Insects vanish from flood zones. Nature understands the danger long before humans do. Days pass. The moon grows visibly larger in the sky. Not subtly, not over decades, but night by night, shockingly, unmistakably. People gather outside, staring upward in fear and disbelief. Governments struggle to explain. Scientists rush to calculate. No one finds comfort in the numbers. The moon begins to fracture under its own stress. Lunar quakes crack its surface. Dust and debris leak into space, forming a halo around it, a haunting sign of what comes next. There is a boundary in physics known as the Roche Limit, a point where a smaller body can no longer hold itself together when too close to a larger one. For Earth and the moon, that boundary lies about 18,000 kilometers from our surface. Right now, the moon is more than 380,000 kilometers away. But if it falls inside that limit, it will begin to tear itself apart. The moon does not hit in one piece, it shatters. The crust splits open. Molten rock is exposed. Entire regions of the lunar surface explode outward. In a matter of hours, the moon transforms from a single body into a spiraling stream of glowing debris, a temporary chaotic ring round Earth. It is beautiful, terrifying, and fatal. Thousands of fragments, some small as houses, others large as mountains, begin their descent. They streak through the sky, burning bright enough to turn night into day. Meteor storms hammer the surface. Cities vanish. Impact after impact reshapes continents. The atmosphere ignites. Firestorms sweep across forests, plains, and coastlines. Heat scorches entire regions before any fragment even touches the ground. Earth shakes violently as pieces of the moon strike with unimaginable force. Earthquakes circle the globe. Volcanoes awaken. Pressure inside the crust, released all at once, tears open new faults. The oceans react violently. Tsunamis, 100 meters tall, race across the planet. They swallow islands, capsize continents. The sea becomes a weapon. The sky darkens. Dust and smoke fill the atmosphere, blocking sunlight. Temperatures drop. Plants die. Ecosystems collapse. What follows is an impact winter far worse than the one that ended the dinosaurs. And this time, the disaster didn't come from space. It came from the very object that once guided our nights. There is a second possibility, far more dramatic. What if the moon did not break apart? What if it held together and struck Earth as a single body? The energy unleashed would be beyond comprehension. Roughly 58 octillion joules, enough to vaporize Earth's crust, enough to melt both bodies into a single molten world. The oceans would boil, the atmosphere would burn away. The planet we know would cease to exist, replaced by a new orb of molten rock, slowly cooling in the dark. A second beginning, or a final end. If a debris ring forms and stabilizes, it might one day gather into a new moon. Smaller, different, a reminder of the catastrophe that reshaped Earth forever. Life, if any survives deep underground or beneath the oceans, would evolve under a very different sky, with no familiar tides, no comforting lunar glow, no ancient companion watching over the night. The moon has always been more than a light in the darkness. It has been a stabilizer, a guide, a guardian. But if it ever drew too close, if its orbit ever collapsed, the consequences would be beyond survival, beyond prediction, beyond anything our species has ever faced. The night sky would change, the world would change. Humanity might not endure it. The moon is peaceful, predictable, reassuring. But what if one day it wasn't? And as we stare into the darkness, a final question lingers. What other cosmic threats are silently moving toward us, hidden in the void, waiting for their moment?